Once again, here I am going live with zero notice. So, for anybody who actually joins in this chat along with me for a little bit this evening, awesome. I would welcome anybody to come on in. So, but if not, it's fine too. I just prefer to do it this way. And then that way I don't have to record and then upload and all of the stuff. And so I thought I would just do a quick live. I actually wasn't planning on doing this a video this soon after my other ones recently, and you might be able to tell I'm messing around a little bit with my lighting here. So we'll see. I hope this is bright enough. It's kind of got like a smooth, soft feel about it, so which I like. Um, I've had a hard day. Um, oh, hey, JS Wyman is in here. I've got somebody here. Hi, how are you doing? So glad you could come. Nightclub. Yeah, well, I've been really playing some smooth jazz. And so at night I'll turn on YouTube on my TV up there and I'll have smooth jazz going on, and it's pretty the ambiance in this room does get to be very soothing and calm. I like it that way. And I've got an electric candle on this table here and a lighted church, and I've got all my lights, and now I've got my desk light, and so I've got my vibe going on. Yeah. Yeah, you and me both. I'm a nerd. I've become a jazz nerd. It's gotten so bad. I actually listen to jazz on my phone while I shower. I need to get myself one of those shower speakers. That would be that would be perfect for me. Yeah, and I have a dimmer on my switch in the bathroom, so I dim the lights and I play my jazz. I don't know why, you go through these different phases of music. Right now I'm in this whole jazz thing. So, and I like the smoothness of the lighting too to go with it. So, anyway, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Don't feel obligated. You do not have to stay. But I would love to, have a chat while I'm in here too. I've had a hard day. I actually think that I had hypomania last night. Um, it hit me really, really hard, and I could not wake up today, and I have had a headache all day, and I'm just foggy. I don't feel great. And just to give you an idea, I cannot remember the last time I had hypomania. It I was so busy yesterday. I had an appointment in the morning, and then I went and had lunch with my parents, and then I'm trying to remember the order of events here. Then my husband got home from work, and then I actually found a local crochet crew like club that meets. They actually meet at the police station nearby. So I went over there and I did that, and it was a potluck. So I swung by the grocery store on the way out and picked up some little muffins to take. And so I went and I enjoyed them. But I okay, so this is what I think triggered it. First of all, I didn't get much sleep. Okay, let's rewind even further. Okay. Last year on here, I talked about how the time change in the spring is really, really hard for me. It's hard with my mental illness. It's hard for all of it. It's just really, really tough. And so I knew it was coming. I have an alarm go off on my phone like a week before, and it says, warning, warning, daylight savings is approaching. Like I get like a warning message to remind me that the time is going to change. So I knew it was coming. And it's been a hard week since it changed. Like I've just had a hard week altogether. And so then, not last night, but the night before, I've been getting enough sleep. Like I monitor it on my watch. I have an app that I use that I pay for to monitor my sleep. So I know, how I'm doing it with my sleep and my deep sleep and my heart rhythm and all of that. And while I did get enough sleep the night before last, I just felt like it may not have been quite as restful, maybe. And so then I pushed all day, and I've told you before that when it's lighter later, it's a recipe for some problems. And so I got over to the police station to go to this crochet club meeting, and it was still light out, so there was that. But when I got in there, and it's this room, and they set it up, they've got like a table here, and then here and here. So it's like a big giant square. And this is only my second time going to this. Last time I went 2 weeks ago, I invited a friend to go with me, which was really helpful, like to have somebody I already know to sit and crochet and talk with. And this time I just didn't know anybody really. So I just kind of sat at one side of the table. Like I didn't want to like encroach on other people's groups. So I just sat by myself, and I'm working on a wreath for spring, a springtime wreath for my front door. And I worked on my wreath, and I let other people get all their food first. And I just kind of hung back and did my thing. And some people were really sweet. They came up and they complimented me on what I was working on, and we got to talking, and it was fine. But for the most part, I sat alone, and that's fine with me. I have no problem with that. But then towards the end of the night, a couple of women came up and really started like talking to me, like extended conversation. And so then I kind of got, and like I went and had food. So I had eaten. I went and, it was my turn. And so I went and I got food, and um then I came back to working on my thing, and then I was gonna leave at like 8:15, and about 8:15 is when one woman started talking to me about stuff and asking me if I could share the YouTube link, or it was an article link to a pattern that she was interested in. And so I sent it to her and got to talking to her about. And I'm a very, I don't mean this in a bragging way, I'm a pretty good listener, and so I'm very good at listening. Even if I don't know what to say, like I'm very good at like listening to what these people, like she's talking to me about doll making, and she's done doll making for like, well, when it was really big, like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, she was just starting to get into the doll making thing and this and that. And so she was telling me all about these antique and ornate and like the ways that you have to make these dolls. And I was very much listening to her. And then another lady came into the conversation, and then I was very much listening to her and what she had just made for one of her best friend's children who's going to have a baby. And so she made her a baby blanket and all of this stuff. And so she talked to me. Now, when I'm talking to people that I don't know in a situation like that, I actually feel like I'm kind of on display. Like I have to, like, I get myself into this mindset of, okay, be careful. Like you don't want to like just spit out any old thing. You want to really like invest in this conversation and like have a back and forth. And so what are you going to say? What are you going to ask? So then I ask questions and I do this. And then, oddly enough, they don't really ask me questions. I've noticed that being a listener, like I'm good at asking follow-up questions to what they're talking about, but they don't typically ask me questions, and that's fine too. But it's like it's a little bit like I become kind of an interviewer, because I always want to be a good listener. Like that's a vibe I want to put out in this world, is like how to be a good listener. And so I was listening, and then this third lady walked up and she was talking, and we were talking to her. And as we were getting ready to go, the one lady, the doll making lady, she asked me who did my hair. And I said I did. And this wasn't insulting at all. The way it actually cracked me up, because these are, slightly older women than me. And she says, "Oh, you little snot." Like, such a an old fashioned, criticism. I actually loved it. I thought it was pretty funny. So she called me a snot, which was fine. Um, but so we got to talking about hair and this and that. And then she kind of told me about her hair lady and that she didn't like her all that much, but she was trying to give her a chance. And I told her if in a couple months she just really wasn't getting the style that she wanted to, I have no idea how to, I do my own. I think I could do hers for her, if it came down to it. I don't know. So anyways, it was all of this stuff. So I had all of this on my mind. And so when I left, and they gave me some great tips for my wreath that I'm working on. The lady, the doll maker, she was talking to me about how I could sew them together and put everything on that I wanted to put on. And then the other lady, she's German, and I had accidentally downloaded a pattern off of Etsy that was in German that my husband put in Google Translate so I could read it. And then she's like, "Well, if you want me to compare it and see if the translation is good, I'm happy to do this." So all of this stuff. Anyway, so like I got home and I was totally overstimulated, like by this whole thing. Like I was fine sitting by myself, minding my own business, doing my own thing. And then all of a sudden it was like, whoosh, come in and talk, and then whoosh, come in and talk, and then whoosh, come in and talk. And I was just kind of like, it, I hate the word trigger. I feel like it's overused, but it kind of stimulated my nerves a little bit. And I was just kind of like, oh my gosh. So by the time I got home, it was really, really, I felt edgy. Like I just felt edgy. So I decided to work out. I've been trying to do 30 minutes, which I'm going to go work out when I finish this live. I've been trying to do 30 minutes every day, Monday through Friday, and then take the weekend off. Used to, I would do at least 30 minutes, maybe an hour every day. And then I felt like I got really like obsessed with it. So I'm trying to kind of, balance it, like do it, but then step away and make myself step away and all this stuff. So I worked out and then I took a shower and I listened to my jazz in the shower. And then I took my meds and then I came downstairs and I turned on, I've been watching. Okay. I'm embarrassed to admit it. I've been rewatching because it's been like almost 15 years. I've been rewatching Star Trek: The Next Generation. I'm loving it. Oh my gosh, I am loving it. In fact, after I go through all the Next Generation stuff and the movies, I'm going to go all the way back to the original series because I've never seen the whole thing. Actually, I don't think I've seen any of those. I've seen some of those movies, but I haven't seen any of the original series. Anyways, that's nerdy and off topic. But I came down and I watched Star Trek, and I knew that the lunar eclipse was going on. We got totally clouded out for it. So there was no point in even trying to open the dome or even get my camera and my lens and try to shoot it. At 1:30 in the morning, I looked up and I could see it through the clouds, but it was not clear at all. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm glad that didn't, in some ways I was kind of glad, like I had already done too much. And if it had been a beautiful, beautiful crystal clear night, I might have even done more. So I went to bed and I woke up. I had the alarm set for like 9:15, 9:30. I could not wake up. Oh, you got clouded out also? Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, I mean, they're beautiful when they're clear. Like, but you know what, J.S. Wyman, you might actually, you may have thought of this before. I want to know. I was talking to my parents yesterday before the eclipse, and I said, I really, now this is out there, but I really wonder what the lunar eclipse looks like from the surface of the moon. I bet that is cool. I bet. I mean, I don't think it would be like a total solar eclipse would be, because the earth is quite a bit larger, right? But it would still be blocking the sun, and you would have this beautiful, I think you'd have a beautiful glow. I don't think you'd be able to see the chromosphere and the prominences and all of the stuff that you would see in a total solar eclipse, but I think that it would block out the sun in such a cool way. Like, anyway, so I'm going to the moon for the next lunar eclipse. Oh, I would love to see that. I bet it would be amazing. Anyway, but yeah, so I got sleep and I just couldn't wake up. I just couldn't wake up. And this is where I'm very grateful that I don't have a regular job, because I woke up feeling so awful. The lander got pictures. It was like the diamond ring. See, that's what I wondered. I wondered if it would have looked like a ring of fire. I imagine that it was very similar to the diamond ring. Really? Oh, I'm gonna have to look at that. Thank you so much for that, Keith. Yeah, I'm gonna look for that. And welcome, by the way, to my spontaneous live that I don't even plan for anymore. I just go and do. So that's where I'm at. Yes, an aura. I think it might be an aura around the earth too, something similar to that. So that's my thinking. I don't know. But I don't want to get totally off track. So yeah, so I didn't get great sleep, and then I got up. I finally woke up. I mean, this is a little embarrassing. I didn't wake up until like it looked like a regular total solar eclipse on Earth. See, and that is more fascinating to me than, honestly, a lunar eclipse from Earth. I mean, they're cool, but as far as eclipses go, a total solar, if that's what it looked like, then yeah, the moon had the best view as far as I'm concerned. I can look at pictures all day long, but yeah, the moon definitely had the best view. So, um, so I finally got up. It's a little embarrassing. I didn't really wake up and drag myself out of bed until about 10:30. It didn't help that the cat was like on me, right? And she's right up in my business. But I got up and I felt pretty crummy. Like I just felt, it's hard to describe, like kind of brain foggy. I felt drugged. And I know I take my meds before bed, but I don't usually wake up feeling like, I usually wake up feeling fine. Like I get my sleep and then I'm off with my next day and everything is good. And so, but I felt pretty crummy all day. So I just took my time. I didn't do anything. That's what I was saying. I'm very thankful that I don't have like a regular demanding job, because I think that my, like, having hypomania last night, I think would have, if I had to be somewhere today, it might have been a big problem, or it might have been a bigger problem. So the fact that I was able to take the day and take the time and recover from it and just not. So I didn't even get out of the house today until about 2:30 or 2:45, and I only went to meet my parents for food, and then I came home because my husband got home from work early. So I came home, went down in the basement, we hung out and talked for about an hour or an hour and a half. And then I was like, I'm going to go up and do a live, and then I think I'm going to work out even though I'm fighting a headache. I'm going to work out, and then I think I'm going to go ahead, I want to try to lighten my hair a little bit. So wish me luck. I don't think it'll turn like blue or green, but we'll have to see what happens. I'd like to try to lighten my hair a little bit. So there's some things I want to get done, but I have felt crummy all day. And I don't know. I think it's a combination, right? Like yesterday was what it was, but we've also got the daylight savings going. And I don't know about you, but for all I know, the lunar eclipse played a factor in how I felt. Like, I don't know. There's just things that happen and things that are supernatural in this life and in this experience that, maybe Saturn was off its axis a little bit. Like, I don't know, right? I felt crummy all day. But I will say this with this lighter later stuff, because I haven't really shot a lot at all, hardly. I mean, we did shoot in November, but we haven't really shot since then. This kind of weather and the warmer temperatures that are coming, I think it's really good. I know it stays lightly, and so we don't get as much of a full evening of shooting as you do, or a full night of shooting as you do in the winter. But it's far more intriguing to go outside and to fiddle with stuff and change things up and mess with the domes and mess with the scopes when it's, 50 degrees or 60 degrees a night and not in the teens and 20s. That makes a big difference. So I think that even that might spark some more interest moving forward. We wanted to buy something for the smaller scope so we could do some framing a little bit better. And they're all sold out. And so we haven't even been able to get that. So we need to look at other places. I know I got an email from one of my subscribers the other day, and he mentioned Astromart. I think that might be worth looking at. There might be even a used one. Wouldn't be a bad way to go shopping for that little tool that we need for that guy. So have some things going on, but it was a hard day. I have not had hypomania in years at this point. I really don't think, unless I struggled with it a little bit last spring, which I might have. Um, it really does. Daylight savings time. Yes, JS Wyman, it really does. That's the downside, because you have shorter nights, right? But it's not freezing and ridiculously, I don't know. It's almost painful to go out and deal with it when it's so cold. But yeah, the hypomania really got me, and I might have had a touch of it last spring. I don't know. when we hit daylight savings. I don't know. I might have had a touch of it a year ago, but last night, really, I was just uppity. I wasn't manic. It wasn't euphoric. It wasn't like a danger kind of thing. Like because I've crossed that line, I know where that goes. And so I know what that feels like. And I haven't had that. I really don't know that I've had mania. I really don't know that I've had mania since I was admitted to the psych hospital. If I have, it was maybe once, and it wasn't. I had well, I would say maybe it was mania at the 2017 total solar eclipse when we went to Casper for that, because I was sleep deprived because we got up really early in the morning to drive up there, and then we got a hotel and I could not sleep, and I was already, there were some things that were like leading up to it that it was making me feel like, and then the eclipse happened and I was just awestruck. Like I don't even think I blinked. I was so amazed by it. I think that's when I had mania last. But that might have even been qualifying as hypomania. I know more now, so it's harder for me to distinguish, but the hypomania that I had last night was rough. And it was a rough day. And it's almost like um it's been years since I've been drunk, right? But the hangover thing, it's almost like I was recovering from a hangover from hypomania. It was like, oh my gosh, this is just exhausting. So anyway, I'm doing okay. I'm gonna just have my night. I'm gonna keep taking it easy. I will do my 30 minutes of exercise. I think I'm gonna try and do something fun and different with my hair. I need to cut it, but I'm not doing that tonight. And then get showered and watch more Star Trek and just kind of have a chill night. But I just wanted to get on here and say, it doesn't really matter how well balanced you are. The day can dictate your tomorrow. I see that very clearly with what happened to me from yesterday to today. Because yesterday very much dictated my today. And I did too much yesterday. I did. I just kept going and doing, and I didn't stop. And I paid for it, and I'm still kind of paying for it. I did take some aspirin for my head, so hopefully that'll kick in. But yeah, I paid for it, and I think that's just something that I'm always going to struggle with from time to time. I think this time of year, with this time change, it's another ingredient into the recipe that can result in some things going in an unhealthy direction for me mentally. And that's good to know. Um, but I know that my medication, I think if I didn't have my medication, it'd be a far worse day to day than it was. And then to my tomorrow might have been a disaster compared to what I'm sure it'll be, because I'll take my meds later, I'll get sleep, I'll wake up, and I know I'll feel a little better tomorrow because that's the history of it. Um, oh gosh, J.S. Wyman. Try to get more. Let me look at some of these. Try to get more sleep if you can. I found 9 to 10 hours is much better. I got 8 hours and 50 minutes according to my watch app last night, and I think I could have slept another 3. And maybe in some ways I should allow myself to, but I'm really bad about that because I don't want to, when I was recovering from my surgery, I talked about exhaustion versus depression. Like I was having a hard time because I was so exhausted and my energy was sapped from my from my surgery, that it was like, wait a minute, am I depressed? Because I only associate exhaustion with depression. And so when I stay in bed too long, it's the same kind of thing. Then it's like, okay, am I in bed too long because I'm depressed? Because I really try to avoid the depression thing. But at the end of the day, where my depression comes from is hypomania. Honestly, in a lot of ways, I feel like if I have a day like yesterday and then crash the next day, I'm asking for some depression too. So, but I'm with you. 8, 9 hours. I think that's good. And I'm going to aim for that again tonight, because I really need to I need to protect my sleep and my sleep hygiene. Oh my gosh. J.S. Wyman had a root canal on Wednesday, 48 hours later, down, chills, headache. Oh gosh, my parents have had so much dental work the last couple of years. I've talked about it on here a little bit. I have artificial jaw joints. I had TMJ surgery. I had 7 of them in my 20s. And so I'm trying so hard to avoid that because I can't imagine a root canal. And just seeing what my parents have gone through, it can almost make you sick. The pain of it all and everything. I'm so, so sorry that you're going through that. I really, really hope that you start feeling better in the next 24 to 36. They tell you, a lot of times they tell you after a procedure or whatever, it's usually day 3 is the time when you start turning a corner. And so I hope that that's the very latest for you, that it's let's just hope and pray that you wake up feeling better tomorrow. Yes, I quit. So because I started working out, I actually cut out caffeine altogether. Um, Before I started working out again, I was stopping before 5. Like I would not have caffeine after 5 p.m. So if I splurge on the weekend with my husband and we go to a nice dinner and I'm like Pepsi or coffee, then yeah, it will go before. I'll make sure we go before, like, I think we typically, we're getting old now. Like I like to go and have dinner at like 4 o'clock anyway because the restaurants aren't so busy. So I'll get it out of the way early. But yeah, cutting down the caffeine makes a huge, huge difference. Is that what the doc said about the 3-day turnaround? Is that what you're talking about? That's what I'm assuming. Because yeah, the with the jaw stuff. Now that was a little bit different, but even after 3 days, I noticed that the surgical pain was wearing off. Like the normal pain of the procedure was there, but the surgical pain was supposed to wear off in that 3-day like area. So yeah. Yeah, it could be a little bit longer, but really, really hope that that doesn't last for you because that pain is just awful. Like that when it's just ongoing pain, that's just so, and anything to do up here, right? Anything to do above the neck. I mean, the jaw surgeries, I can't even describe. Like, we could have a whole other live about that because I can't even begin to describe to you. The first surgery I had was bite surgery, and so they went in and they broke my top my jaw here, like above here. They broke it, and they realigned it, and then they put screws in here. And then I had the joint surgery 6 months later. But the problem is that oh gosh, the anxiety. Yeah. I'll get to that in a second. I was having my because I had really bad bruxism, so I would clench and grind my teeth. And so my screws and everything that was holding my joints together was backing out. And so I kept having to go back in. And my last surgery was '07, and they actually did a custom implant. Obviously the medicine has changed since then because that was like '07. Like I said, that, oh my gosh, we're getting close to 20 years ago. That was 18 years ago that I had that. And they did a I think they did a CAT scan on me. I think that's what it's called, to get like a 3D image of my joint because no other joint was staying. They just used, like, they would just pick like a size and like put it, but my left one just kept coming loose and coming loose. So it was gone into, excuse me, it was gone into 4 times. And I was just, and this was before, you said right here, J.S. Wyman, having chronic anxiety only adds to the struggle. So this was before I even had, I didn't even have a bipolar diagnosis. I didn't even know that anything was wrong. And so I was a hot mess. Not so much with the anxiety. I don't think I struggled with that so much as I just did. Like I was unsettled. Like I just was I don't know how to say that without putting the word anxiety in there because it's not the same, because I know what you mean. Like the anxiety, well, people are different, right? Like people, I want to ask you, J.S. Wyman, if you're still here, what is anxiety like for you? Like, is it like a crawling in your skin? Like you just want to crawl out of your skin kind of like feeling? Because that's what it is for me. If I with the hypomania last night, I could hardly sit still. That's what I call anxiety for me. I didn't have that back in the day with my jaw stuff. I think I was just so depressed. I think the pain really just made me more depressed than anything. But I just wonder how it is for other people. And if you don't want to say, don't say. It doesn't matter. I'm just curious because for me, it's an internal welling up of panic. It, I hear you so clearly because if you can't get it, well, and then you're worried about the pain. Absolutely, you're worried about the pain because you don't know when it's going to go away or if it's going to go away, right? I get that. And I can understand before I was medicated that my anxiety when I was manic because I think it's just so different when you add mania into it, right? Because it's like you can have anxiety without mania. I don't know if you can really have mania without anxiety. So I kind of with mine it was like mania and anxiety together. And I it was like I might as well have had like 6 coffees that day. I could not sit still. But pain-induced anxiety, if you already struggle with anxiety, like being able to creep into your world anyway, and then you have like pain brought on by whether it's a medical procedure or just a headache or whatever it is that won't go away, when it won't go away, I believe if you're anything like me, that anxiety can quickly lead to paranoia. I have been paranoid before, and paranoia is absolutely it's like the next level, right? It's like anxiety on steroids. I hate it. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, hey Nate, good to see you. I got your email today. I am going to write you back. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but yeah. I will definitely get some rest. That is where I'm headed. So, but JS Wyman, I just want you to know that, if you ever need to drop a line or shoot me an email, you just need to let it out and just put it out there just to feel better about getting it out there. Please feel free to email me at the bipolarastrolophotographer@gmail.com. I am more than happy to be kind of a lighthouse in the storm. That's absolutely fine with me. If I don't respond right away, it's because I'm in my own storm. And that's just how it goes. But I want you to know that you are more I am inviting you to do that because I absolutely would not have a problem with that at all. You know what, Keith? I hope you don't mind that I'm going to show that. You had a panic attack in December of 2022. Couldn't sleep because of the heart rate. This was a couple, like you said about the adrenal gland. Yes, it's like your body is separate from your brain at that point, right? It's like it's doing its own thing and something's wrong, but it's all like a vicious cycle. It's like one is feeding the other and it's feeding the body. The brain is feeding the body's feeding the brain. I was so panicked one time. My heart was doing what you were talking about. And oh wow, good for you. Starting antidepressants. But you never had issues, but it surprised you a lot. But you started on something to try. Good for you for advocating for yourself. I mean, at least you're trying, even if you have to adjust it and try something else. Props, props, props about that. Yes, that stuck thing. So that one time, my gosh. Well, I'm not gonna lie. Back before I had my bipolar diagnosis, I was smoking a lot of pot, and it was almost like my mind was so used to it that my mind was starting to kind of like do weird things because I'd done it for so long and I was with friends. Anyway, I was doing stupid stuff and I got so sick. I got so sick. And I remember I said to myself, I'm in the bathroom in front of the toilet and I remember telling myself, calm your mind and your body will follow. Calm your mind and your body will follow. And I think I repeated it to myself for probably like half an hour. Like I just was so like so out of my mind and out of control. And I really do feel like my med and my diagnosis and everything since then has really helped me with that. But like 3 weeks ago, my husband and he was getting ready to go out of town for work. So we sat at the kitchen table and we played Star Trek Monopoly. I can't believe I'm talking about this on a live. Anyway, I'm going to keep going.
we played Star Trek Monopoly, and my heart started racing, like, out of nowhere, and it totally freaked me out, and it took me, like, probably about 30 hours for me to feel better. I felt awful after that. It was, like, out of my control. I don't know if it's a side effect of my medication. It very well could be. I've said this to my friends. I consider this chat my friends. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now. If I die, and I think I've even said it on my YouTube channel, if I die of a heart attack or a stroke as a side effect from my medication, like, if I go early, I'm okay with it. I'm really okay with it because I would much rather go that way than the alternative, which is panicked, anxiety-stricken, crawling out of my skin. Like, if it's, we're all gonna go, right? I would rather go trying, and I really like my med, and I'm actually kind of afraid to try something else because I like my med so much. Like, it's an antipsychotic, and so it really brings me so much chill, and I just am not willing to sacrifice it. So I did make an appointment with a cardiologist. I am gonna go see one in May. Part of it is, I don't know if you're like, I don't know, Keith, if you're still here, but when you had the heart, like, it felt like everything was, did you, like, panic that then you were, like, on the verge of a heart attack? Because I do. And for women, I know that a symptom of a heart attack is jaw pain. Like, how would I know that that's because I have that with arthritis anyway. So anyway, it's just like, I'm like, and both of my grandfathers, my dad's dad died of a heart attack when he was 59, and my mom's dad survived a heart attack at 57. And I just kind of drew, like, the short straw of the medical, like, the DNA here in my family chain. And so I'm just going to go get checked. And then that way I've established myself with a cardiologist. So if something is flaring up down the line, then I at least already have somebody to go to. So I am going to try, but I'm going to catch up on here for a minute. So, oh, I'm so glad you guys are talking to each other in here. This is great. Oh, I'm not going to put all of these up on here, but JS Wyman and Keith, I'm so glad that you guys are having, like, your own back and forth on here, because it's so great to have. One thing I was talking to Nate about in that email that we were talking about is community. And this is just like, this is what I want in part this channel to be about, is this kind of community, to be able to talk about some of this stuff, because it's hard to, like, just like last night, right? At the crochet group. Am I ever going to talk to these ladies about this? Probably not. I mean, unless one, I got really close to down the line, probably not. This way I can just be me. I don't know why. It's just more comfortable to talk about this way. See, that's exactly right. 3 days. I don't blame you at all. Because I think when I was having mine that night, I mean, I kept checking my rate because I was sitting in this green chair watching TV, and my heart rate was like 120 or 130. And I'm like, this is not okay. Like, I may be having a problem here. I just don't want to, like, sit on it and chalk it up to something else if to get some kind of, at least a look at the thing. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm going to show this one, Keith. Oh wait, hold on. Let me look up a little bit higher. I know. Well, see, and I went to my doctor. So after the heart rate thing, I went to my doctor. So that happened on a Sunday night. I went to my doctor, I think it was the following Tuesday. I cannot remember. I'd have to look in my calendar. It doesn't matter. And they did do an EKG and everything was fine. But one thing that my doctor did mention to me about seeing the cardiologist, because this heart rate thing does happen to me about once or twice a year. It's random. I can't tell you when it's going to happen, but it does happen. That's what makes me think it might be tied to at least one of my meds. But one thing that a cardiologist, if you can get established with one, they might do is hook you up with one of those monitors that you wear for like 2 weeks straight. And then they get a really good baseline of where you are. Now, your rapid heart rate might not flare up when you do that, but at least you've got somebody, like, in your corner to go talk to. Like, you can say, oh, I wasn't wearing the thing, but it happened. Let's try it again, to start somewhere. This is what I was going to show, Keith. When you mentioned what happens to a lot of people and you find out that we all have like a similar thing, isn't that amazing to like know that, and that's where you feel so much less like alone in your space, especially in the midst of if you're having something really hard happening and you don't feel well, like even the hypomania last night. And when I didn't feel well, I will say I didn't feel like when I was kind of in the throes of it, I didn't feel like it was just me. I didn't feel like it was like something I couldn't talk about. Now there I may be particular about who I talk to about it, but it's amazing when you open up to somebody you've never even met face to face and they're like, "Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too." That's so huge, and that's what helps build, even if it's just a small community, it helps build this, like, camaraderie between us to be able to just sit and chat about some of the things that are really hard, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, because it's all encompassing. One thing like J.S. Wyman, you were talking about with your root canal, that breaks you in other ways. We're not just talking about the pain here. It hurts you here. It hurts you here. It hurts you here. You're just all around kind of broken for a time. And it's not easy, whether you have mental illness or not. It's not easy. So, oh yeah. Well, my best friend, she's been diagnosed with SAD, seasonal affective. So I don't know that she takes anything in the winter time, but it is hard for her. It also doesn't help that it's the hardest, busiest time of year for her work. It really is. It's like it's the hardest, busiest because they have a conference every December. It's in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So once like September hits, she's in full swing for that, and then she's got the seasonal affective on top of, and it's just like it's like a double whammy on her. Totally. Yeah. I actually, once it gets dark, I'm fine with it. Like, but it used to bother me more. And now this time change bothers me more. It's crazy. Like, I've flipped. Like, I feel like I'm not even like, I think I've said that on here before. I don't know. But if I were to like, if my physiology and my face and all of my features had changed as much as my mind has changed, I would be unrecognizable to even the like closest people in my life. Like I wouldn't look like me because I've forever I hated the falling back time change forever. And then more recently I'm like, I don't care about that one. It's the oppressive daylight for too long that really, it's like I've totally flipped. A shock to the entire body. Absolutely. Pain is a shock to the entire body. It can really mess with every part of who you are. And so J.S. Wyman, I hope you feel better. Keith, I'm so glad that you have advocated for yourself and you are at least trying. I hope your antidepressant that you take has helped with your anxiety and your physiological responses to stress and mental emotional things. I really, really hope that your antidepressants have helped you in that way. It is really, really hard to find the right thing or the right set of things. And I'm not even saying that I've found it. Like I'm just, I'm managing it. And this may not last. I may have to revisit this in a different way. My med may up and quit working sometime. I don't know. It's just like we just do the best we can with what we have. And I've gotten very good, and I've talked about it on this channel before. I have gotten really good about telling doctors what I need instead of just bowing down to what they think is best for me. I've gotten really good at that. And that's something that every time I go for a reason, I really try to make it a point that this is what I'm here for and this is what I feel. especially when it comes to mental health stuff, right? Where it's like, but I'm not willing to take on 3 to 5 medications. I'm not doing it. So you're going to work with me on this, or I'm going to find somebody else to work with me on this. That's advocation. That's how you do it, right? So absolutely. Oh, I you're talking about the daylight savings time on the way out with just staying in standard time. I'd be fine with that. I don't understand what I told my parents, I'm like, why are we still doing this? Why are we still doing this? And you know what's crazy? My cat has been really, I don't know if you saw my kind of botched lives the other night or the other day. My cat's been great for like 6 months. And then daylight savings time, it like ramped up her inflammatory bowel disease, and she has been sick so much more lately since all this happened. Now I know cats don't like go with a time schedule or a clock, right? But it's like because my schedule is different, hers suddenly changes. And cats with inflammatory bowel disease, any little thing can set it off. My best friend stayed here last year for like 5 days. Cat got sick as a dog. Like it's just lovely stuff. I'm going to read through these real quick. Yes, you do need to be your own advocate with doctors, because we live in a world where I'm sorry to say this. I'm really sorry to say this. Doctors have been doing things the last, well, maybe forever. I don't know. But I've noticed it more in the last 10 years that they should not be doing. It makes them untrustworthy. And so I'm not going to let them run and dictate what I do. I'm fine to be open-minded to hear what they have to say, but I'm not going to just blindly. I have a friend. She's not even a friend. She's an acquaintance, but it's a niece to my mom's friend. She listened to everything the doctor suggested, and she's got major liver problems now. I think they had her on too many meds, and she just took it. And it's just, you got to know where to be like, nah, no. She might even have a case to sue. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I'm just saying, advocation for yourself means setting boundaries with everybody, including medical professionals. So we talked about this in that email, Nate. This is important. This is what I want. This is what I want to have. And I'm just so glad that I've got people here that showed up for this. We're not talking space. We're not talking lunar eclipse. We're not talking all the stuff. But we're talking about really important things that affect us from the top of our heads to the bottom of our feet. And that is really, really, that's a really important conversation to be having. Oh, let me see this one. I've also changed my schedule to staying up late when it's all calm. Well, and to add to this, Keith, one of the reasons that I've always been a night owl, and I think that it's going to just continue. I've been a night owl my whole life. I'm less now that I'm medicated and I can actually sleep. But when I couldn't sleep before, I'd just stay up till like 4 a.m. and just go to bed and just sleep till noon or 1. I'm missing out on morning time a little bit, so I want to have some of that. But one reason why I'm a night owl is because it's so calm. The world, people are in their homes. The traffic isn't as loud. There's not people just walking around the neighborhood. It's just everybody is minding their own business more. And I just relish in that quiet. It's one reason why I've come to love snow. My whole growing up, I hated the snow. I hated the snow and the cold and blah, blah, blah. And now I love snow. When it snows, I could just listen to that for hours. I just love my peace and quiet. It has become, but yes, when you are doing deep space astro with this hobby, we can enjoy the night, right? We can soak up the peace of the night. And I think that's one reason that I was drawn to this hobby in the first place, is it's just like, oh, the night is just calling me to it. It's a little seductive. It's a little seductive. I slept till 1 p.m. today. Good for you. Good for you. Ain't no shame in that. You do that. Well, you guys, this has been awesome. I think this has actually been my very, very favorite live. I've actually gone almost 50 minutes. And I think with my limited time, my limited, I'm not subscribed to StreamYard. I think I have 2 hours for a month. So this might inspire me to actually suck it up and pay and do a subscription. Because if we can have some conversation like this, a good chat going on, everybody being kind to one another, caring about what each other has to say, appreciating each other's experiences, it warms my heart to host this for us, because and if any of you guys ever want to host this, you just let me know too, and we'll just go to your channel and do it. I'm fine with that. But I love this. This was fantastic. I'm feeling better. I still have a dull headache. The hypomania really, like, it just kind of threw a wrench in my usual, what's the word? Rhythm, maybe? It just kind of threw a wrench in my rhythm, and I just really felt like I just needed to sit down and talk about it. And look at what it did. It just opened up this whole conversation with everybody. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, JS Wyman. Thank you, Nate. I don't think I missed anybody, but if I missed anybody, I think that's all. I just love that you three were in here, and that we got a chance to really have some fun conversation and enjoy that it's Friday, hopefully a little bit. We can all enjoy some peace and some quiet and some good relaxation in the weekend. And trust me, in a month, I'll be outside on the deck with a glass of wine, enjoying the sunset. But it's going to take me some time to get there. And then the hypomania is a possibility between now and then. So I just need to know, to be careful this time of year. Don't take too much on in a day. And yesterday taught me that. So we live and we learn. Doesn't matter what age you are. You're always going to learn. You're always going to grow. And I definitely learned a lesson. I need to set boundaries this time of year, especially because I really, it kind of took a toll on me. But I'll be fine. I know I will. I hope you guys, yes, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for all of this, all of your kind words, all of your time tonight. This was just so fun to be able to do this with all of you guys. And JS Wyman, really feel better soon. Keith, keep looking up, my friend. Just keep looking up. Clear skies ahead for you, okay? And I'll be here again, hopefully another time sooner than later. But you all have a wonderful Friday night and enjoy your weekend, and try to surround yourself with all the things that make you happy and bring you peace and joy and love. All right. Self-care is not selfish. Bye, everybody.